Welcome everyone, this is the 7 evolutions I recommend free-to-play players to get first. So number 1 on my list is a win condition actually, and it's the only win condition on this list, and it will be the Royal Giant. The reason I recommend the Royal Giant is because even before the evolution, it was one of the most consistent cards of all time. It was broken actually at one point, and it always has a spot in the meta. It has a very core group of cards that never really changes all that much. And when they do, the way that it plays doesn't change that much either. Always a slow beatdown deck that just like relies on normally 1 or 2 big pushes in a lot of matchups, and the evolution just helps a lot with that. And then in mid ladder it also helps a lot because it can do well against cards like Mini Pekka, Skeleton Army, Goblin Gang, a lot of cards like that. Obviously a lot of middle that is very popular in mid ladder. Another reason I recommend it is just the scalability of it, because if you learn how to play this card well, it teaches you a lot in the game. But also, even if it doesn't teach you a lot about the rest of the game, if you play this card well, you won't be stuck in mid ladder as long as, well, you actually learn to play it well, not what you think is well. You're able to get to the top of the leaderboard. It's not a deck that will have you stagnate like Mega Knight, for example. Okay, now number 2 is a card that a lot of people don't like, and that's because it is very annoying. I don't think anyone really likes this card when it's used against him anyway, and that would be the Firecracker. So the main reason I'm actually recommending this is because it's amazing in Hog Rider, and Hog Rider is one of the most consistently good cards in Clash Royale history. Hog 2.6 has been around for forever, and even though it's not as good anymore, there's many other types of decks like Hog EQ, Hog AQ, EQ, and yeah, it places in other decks like a Cookbait. I can't think of others off the top of my head, but Firecracker is just a really consistent card, and Evolved Firecracker just takes that shit up to 11, so it just makes the thing basically unplayable. Well, not unplayable, but like you need to get rid of the card immediately, otherwise it just gets infinite value. And on mid ladder especially, people overcommit trying to get rid of it, and if they have a spell, it breaks it out immediately, which may not always be what you want, but it can help in a lot of cases. Number 3 is a card that I use quite a lot, and it's because since its release I haven't needed to change it. That will be the Evolved Knight. So now, what more needs to be said about Evolved Knight that you probably haven't heard before? I'll start actually with regular Knight, and that's the fact that it's a great card for its elixir because it's just great value. And I know, okay, maybe it's hard to explain, but on mid ladder, for example, you can fully counter Mega Knight. It does extremely well against E-Bobs and just a lot of other mid ladder cards that just like Knight is just great value. Maybe not against the punch, but I mean it is 2 elixir more, so you need to just know what to do against it. And now the evolved version of the card is just like takes it up to 11 because it has a shield that protects your push, and they always overcommit against it because they have to put something on the card. And defensively, it actually shifts some matchups slightly in your favor, because Expo is normally not the easiest matchup for Evolved Knight or for Logbait, but you have the Evolved Knight. The moment you have that in cycle, you don't have to use your rock on the Expo as long as you play it correctly. So that helps tremendously, because whether you're being outcycled, whether you need to throw a rock on their tower, it's just an amazing card, and I highly recommend that free-to-play players get, because it's just always been consistent. Okay, next card I would say is the Evar Spirit. Another card that is amazing before the evolution because it just stalls for time, which allows you to get elixir, which of course is the most valuable thing in the game. And yeah, I think that's really, you don't need to know much else about what it does without, because that's already so valuable. Then the Evolved, just because it does that multiple times, it just allows you to get even more elixir back. But also the DPS feels like it increases since it's stalling their push. It feels like you're doing more damage, and higher DPS is always more value. And cards also stay longer on your side of the field without dealing any damage, so that means your towers help out more. So it just gives great value to your other cards, and it allows you to get elixir back. So I think the combination of those 2 things really makes the Evolved Icebird completely busted. So now the next evolution I'd say is the Evolved Valkyrie. Another card that is great non-evolved. I think that is basically a must when you're talking about your first couple of evolutions, because it means that you don't have a liability in your deck. It's a decent to good card in most all your decks, and then the evolution is just a bonus to that. I feel like that's what evolutions should have been designed to do. Maybe they have been, but just poorly designed. But that's what I feel like it should have been. An evolved Valkyrie, really first that when in terms of a really good solid card on mid ladder against bait, like against barrels, against Skarmies, then MKs, the coats, and lots of other cards. It's just a really solid card overall. And the evolution, if used correctly, is basically a free defense. So they could throw Hog Rider on your tower, you can fully counter that. Balloon can fully counter if by that's your counter as well, but you get points just extremely solid on defense when you have the evolved Valkyrie. And yeah, so now the next one I'd say would be the Evil Cannon. It's one of the cards that's probably lower on the list because it's a building and not all decks need buildings. Not a lot of people like to use buildings, or maybe because it's under leveled you don't want to use it, and on mid ladder that's very common. But I think it's still a really good evolution to get, because once again, before the evolution, it's extremely good DPS, always solid in the meta, and survives crucial defenses, like you can fully counter Balloon with it. Then the Evo is amazing. I don't think I need to talk much about it. It had to get like 2 or 3 nerfs before it became not the best holding in the game, because it has amazing knockback, it was great at cleaning as form, and the radius used to be used, not as big anymore, but it's still great at just DPSing down your opponent's sticks. The last card I'd recommend would probably be the Evo Snowball. Now this card I don't have a lot of experience using, but I have used it, and it's just a great card, especially for catching your opponents off guard. Like when you put a Goblin Girl on their tower and they try and defend it, you throw your Evo Snowball, and if they're not quick to react, or they just don't think to react because they're mid ladder players and they don't have a brain, you always get so much damage. So basically you can't pick damage, so now you just need to think about the defensive side of things, and well, you have Snowball. So yeah, I think that's why I recommend you Snowball. Not gonna talk as in depth about this one, but I think those would be the cards I recommend. Thank you for listening. Bye.